Be in the thick of it now as a member of the National Conference, a participating member. What is your thought since you started the last 1 week?
Well, let me start from the concept of the sovereign nature of the conference. Section 14, subsection 2 of 1999 Constitution confers sovereignty on the Nigerian people, and the president emphasized that in his speech. I think the misconception or the controversy surrounding it emanated from the belief from members of the National Assembly that once you have been elected into the National Assembly, you become a sovereign. No, that's an exaggerated opinion about themselves. And in any case, their concept of sovereignty is old, archaic, stale, and cannot in any way be justified under any democratic dispensation.
So what makes a conference sovereign?
Sovereignty to the extent that decisions reached at the conference will be inviolable, that nobody will tamper with it.
In essence, it does not go to the National Assembly or anybody else for ratification, it becomes law.
Yes, because the ultimate custodian of power in any country or democratic country or democracy is the people. They hire and fire. They will elect you, and if you have done well, they renew your mandate. If you have performed below par, they send you packing. Now let me go further. Recall the 1979 Constituent Assembly. They came up with resolutions, Constituent Assembly, and after that resolutions were brought together, the military junta at that material time tampered with it. They removed certain parts from it. And people are saying that once we decide some people should go and represent us to come up with resolutions that will eventually be codified in the Constitution, nobody has any power whatsoever to tamper with it. That is as far as sovereignty is concerned.
Okay.
You really can't blame some people who still believe that they hold sovereign powers over and above the people. They are still living in the past. The dictators of old, whose words were law, were sovereign in their state because their words were law. They didn't have limited term. They ruled in perpetuity, and therefore they were next to God. So if you have a limited mandate of 4 years in the National Assembly, there's no way you can be a sovereign. At best, you have a mandate that's renewable. Okay? And after that, the people will still decide whether they want you back there or not. I've laid that foundation for the sovereignty. I share my colleagues' opinion regarding President Jonathan's address, particularly touching and concerning referendum, because the process as we have it now suffers some form of legitimacy crisis, and I will explain. In other jurisdictions, delegates are supposed to be elected directly from the people. But owing to challenges that are peculiar to us, I'm told that Independent National Electoral Commission was approached that, look, is it possible to conduct elections for delegates for this national confab? And they said, well, it will be a major, major challenge for them, and that they will need about 30 billion or whatever. Right, now, a president or a government must think out of the box, look at options A, B, C, and then decide in the circumstance what you can do. And therefore, they came up with, okay, let's look at the broad sections, the stakeholders in Nigeria, and then see how we can select from them, either by consensus or otherwise. Now, that's an incurable defect. You have not been elected. But the moment you take whatever you have come up with to the people in form of a referendum, then that defect becomes curable. You have a mandate because the people will ratify what you have done, what you have taken to them. So that's why I am glad that the National Assembly has agreed to make a provision for referendum during the ongoing constitution amendment process.
That's fine.